Hey everyone, welcome to the Alba Method. So today's session, I'm bringing it back to basics. I have for you a total body beginner yoga flow. I'll be bringing you through some foundational postures. We're really going to be just working into some nice gentle stretches. So if you're new to yoga and you're looking to start a practice and maybe not know where to begin, or you just want a nice gentle stretch, then this video is for you. Today I am not going to be using any props, so you don't need anything fancy, just a clear space, a yoga mat, and when you're ready, I'll meet you there. All right, today we're going to start on our back. So go ahead and lay down. And start by pulling your knees in towards your chest. And just pause here for a moment, and then gently release your feet to the ground so that they're stacked underneath the knees, and you can rest your hands on your belly or down by your sides. Just find a space where you can give your weight to the mat, and you can find a steady gaze here. You can gently close the eyes, just breathe. Allow yourself to just come into this present moment and into this present space. And then you're going to take your feet nice and wide, staying heavy through the rest of the body, staying heavy through the knees, through the feet. We're just going to start to tick-tock those knees side to side. So dropping them over to the right and then slowly over to the left, and you can let those hips come up. If something feels tight or uncomfortable, definitely modify. You want your feet to stay nice and wide, and you want them pretty far away from the rest of your body. So a nice wide stance. Give yourself some room here. And keep the feet slightly flexed. And just notice what you feel and where you feel it. And as your knees come over to the right, you're going to let them pause there. And I want you to take your right heel and start to place it on top of your left knee. If that's too much, you can simply just stay over to one side. But this is going to kind of encourage that knee down towards the ground and let that hip come up. We want to try to feel it right through that outer hip, keeping your feet flexed. And then start to breathe right into that left side. And if you feel okay here, you're going to take that left arm and just reach it up over your left shoulder and stretch from the tip of that left finger all the way down into the hip and into the knee. Nice and slow. And then we slowly just dismantle, so pulling that arm back towards you, uncrossing those feet, gently coming back to center, making those adjustments through the hips, and then we'll slowly switch sides. So just bringing those knees gently over to the left, nothing fast. And then when you're ready, go ahead and place that left heel on top of the right knee. So both feet stay nice and flexed so we protect the knees. Again, if this is too intense, feel free to just stay with the knees over to one side. If you've got that heel on the knee, allow that hip to come up, allow that heel to get nice and heavy on that right knee, and then you can start to reach that right arm and stretch it over that right shoulder, and just breathing into that right side. Again, just noticing what you feel, staying present in your body. Beautiful. Slowly start to dismantle that as you come back to center, uncrossing those legs and adjusting those hips. Bringing the feet underneath you, pull your right knee into your chest. And I want you to keep the foot flexed. And I want you to think about pulling the upper thigh to the belly. So we don't want to lift up through the shoulders. Try to keep the shoulders as relaxed as you can, and it's going to look different for everyone, but just hug that knee into the chest. Notice what you feel. Maybe some tightness or a slight discomfort, perhaps through that right hip. Good. From here, you're going to interlace your hands behind the back of the thigh. So get those hands high up onto the back of the thigh, almost where the glute and the hamstring connect. And if the knee is slightly bent here, that's okay. Just test out where you're at. Notice where you feel a stretch, and notice what happens if you start to engage the legs. So I want you to just explore this in your body for a moment. You can take some ankle circles in one direction, maybe point and flex the foot. Just loosening up the body, releasing some tension. And again, keep the shoulders relaxed, but we want to support that leg with the hands. staying heavy through that right hip. And then from here, just start to pull that heel to the glute and extend. So that left foot is staying nice and stable so that we support the low back, but we're staying heavy through the low back. And again, just noticing what you feel here, slowly working into that hamstring, and then pause, maybe take it a little bit further. And maybe this is far enough. Good. From here, just start to bend that knee and take that right ankle on top of the left knee. Flexing those toes a lot. And then we'll pull that knee back into the chest and gently release that foot. So here we'll take a set of bridge just to reset. Now from here, I want you to bring the arms down by your sides and just adjust the feet a little bit and the hips. So we're able to really support the hips with those feet. So you want to feel the feet here. You have your big toe mound, you have the pinky edge of the feet, and then you have the center of each heel. So just feel that for a moment, the inner arches, the outer arches. And then bring that awareness to your shoulders, the backs of the shoulders and the back of the head. So we're getting strong through the entire back side of the body before we do anything. And then keeping your gaze to the sky, start just by lifting the hips a couple inches off the mat. Notice what has to happen. And then we want to avoid letting those knees come apart. So keep those inner thighs just gently kind of hugging together ever so slightly, and then start to bring your hip bones in line with the knees maybe. And we really want to stand on those feet and keep your gaze up, pressing through the back of the head to keep the neck long. And then we're slowly going to release those hips. So we want to avoid slamming the hips down, and we want to avoid really crunching them up fast too. We want to move nice and slow and mindfully. So again, we're going to ground down through the back of the head, the backs of the arms, the center of each heel, and then slowly start to peel those hips off the mat, lifting the hip bones in line with the knees. Just squeeze your glutes here, get nice and active, and then slowly release. Good. From here, pulling your left knee into your chest, interlace the hands on top of that left knee to encourage that thigh to the belly, and just notice what you feel here. Notice the difference between the right and the left. Good. And then when you're ready, start to extend that heel up to the sky, supporting the leg with the hands. And again, if the knee is slightly bent here, that's okay. We don't want to strain or force anything here. And you can take some ankle circles in one direction, point and flex the foot, release any tension you have in the legs, and again, just noticing what you feel. Staying heavy through that left hip, relax through the neck and shoulders, and then when you're ready, start to bend that knee, pulling the heel down, and I'm squeezing my hands with my calf. And then I'm going to extend my heel up and engage my quad slightly. So being really mindful about this stretch. And again, not forcing anything, just going where your body goes. And just paying attention. Good. Once you've felt balanced in that left side, start to extend that heel, pulling the leg towards you, maybe a little bit closer. And then go ahead and bend that knee and take that left ankle right on top of that right knee. Just a modified figure 4 here. And then here we're going to pull both knees into our chest and rock side to side, just nice and gentle. And then go ahead and roll gently over to one side, coming up to a seat. And here we're gently just going to roll over those knees and create this tabletop or all fours position. So bringing the hands underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. So you want to make sure that the hands aren't too far apart or too close together. Again, you want ideally to have them right underneath the shoulders. Now some of you may need to take a little bit wider stance with the arms. If you have super tight shoulders, that's okay. Set it up to where you feel supported. And then you really want to spread the fingertips wide, really grip the mat with your hands and push through the heels of the hands. So these aren't big movements. This is just slight activation to get to know what's happening in the body. And then I want you to start to take your gaze down between the thighs. And then here, start to really push into the mat as you find a cat round spine. So really rounding through the spine like an angry cat. And let your neck relax. Keep pushing into those arms and then lean into your hands just ever so slightly. And then slowly start to release that, coming back to a neutral position. And then start to slide the shoulder blades onto the back as you find a little arch through the back here, gently lifting the gaze. And again, this is a nice slow movement. Now working into the spine. So again, drop the gaze, push the earth away as you round through the spine. Now bring your awareness to your shoulder blades, that space right between the shoulder blades. Creating space, unlocking tension through the shoulders, and then start to move slowly through that cow face pose, drawing the heart through. And we don't need to take the gaze all the way up just yet. Do that a couple more rounds. Once again, nice and slow. Just breathing as you breathe. Not focusing too much on your inhales and exhales, but just letting the breath move through the body. We just don't want to hold the breath. Good. Coming back to center, just pause here. Good. So you're going to start by extending that right foot behind you. The heel is in line with the hip, and then start to take that heel in line with your right hip. So setting this up once again, supporting the hands underneath the shoulders, and then you want to think about pressing through the outer edge of that right foot. From here, we're gently just going to shift that left hip back towards the left heel as you're pressing through that right foot. And then shift forward and shift back. Good. So maybe feeling this in the inner thigh and the groin. Again, you may not go all the way back. Go till you feel some stretch and then just pause and send your breath to the tension. Good. Do that one more time, and then you're going to come back to center. And then from here, just pressing through that left hand, reach right up above you with that right arm. And you can keep the gaze down. Or if your neck allows it and you feel no pain, you can start to rotate the gaze up towards your right hand, really reaching up, and avoid reaching back behind you. We just want to reach straight up, creating a nice line and a nice stretch. And then everything will release together, taking the gaze down, taking that right hand down. You're going to pick up that right foot, and now we're just going to cross it over the left side of the mat. So taking the ball of the foot off the mat. And here we're going to take our gaze all the way over our left shoulder, really pressing through that heel. Continue to press through the hands. Beautiful. Coming back to center, we'll just switch sides. So I'm just going to turn around so you can see the other side. You can stay where you are. And we're just going to take that left heel in line with the left hip and then bring that foot in line with the hip. So again, pressing through the outer edge of that foot. Make sure you're setting up the shape first. Staying grounded through that right side. Start to shift that right hip back towards the heel and then shift forward. So we want to keep the belly slightly pulling in, and we want to stay nice and rooted through our hands to help support the movement and keep a nice neutral spine. Good. Let's do that 2 more times. Continuing to press through the outer edge of that foot. The gaze is soft, the breath is fluid. Good. And then once you're back in that starting position, start to lean into that right hand. Just take your left arm up. And again, maybe your gaze stays down. Maybe your gaze goes to the sky. We want to just avoid that head drop. We want to keep the head active wherever our gaze is. And then when you're ready, bringing that left hand down, pick up that left foot, bringing it all the way over the right side. Now off the mat, press through the ball of that foot as you take your gaze all the way over your right shoulder. Good. Coming back to center nice and slow. And just pause here. So coming back to this right side. You may need to take a little bit of a wider tabletop here, but we're going to start on that right foot. So you're just going to take your right foot forward, and you may need to use your hand to guide it forward, but you want that right foot all the way up by your right hand. It's off the mat, and if you have really tight hips or tight legs, you're going to turn those toes to face about 1 o'clock. And today I do have a super tight IT band, so I'm going to do the same thing, turning my feet, my toes to face 1 o'clock. And then that back knee, I'm going to keep the toes tucked under and just take a little bit of a wider stance. So set it up to where you feel supported once again. And this may feel a little uncomfortable at first. Sharp shooting pain, you want to back out of it, but slight discomfort is normal, especially if we're first starting. So just notice what you feel, and then you can start to explore it. So you can sink a little bit heavier into that right knee. And as you let the hips kind of sink and shifting the weight into that right foot, you want to keep your glutes strong. And again, it's going to look different for everybody. So maybe you were here. Maybe this is a nice deep stretch. And then we're slowly just going to come back to our tabletop position and switch sides. So stepping that left foot forward, bringing it all the way to the outside of the mat. And again, turn those toes to face about 11 o'clock. And then bring your hands underneath you as you start to shift your weight into that left foot. So nothing really happens if we keep our hips up and back. We want to start to gently bring those hips forward, feeling a stretch maybe through the top of that right hip, keeping the right glute strong, but staying nice and heavy in that left foot. And again, this is going to look different, so explore it. And just breathe. And then when you're ready, coming back to center. So here, bringing the hands back underneath you. And here, you're just going to flip the right fingertips towards your knee, and they may not flip all the way back. That's okay too. You may need to take your hand a little bit wider. But you're gently just going to shift your hips back towards your heels. Let your gaze drop and just stretch out that forearm on that wrist. And then when you're ready, go ahead and shake that out and just switch sides. So spinning those left fingertips towards you. The heel of the hand wants to face towards the front of the mat. And then just gently pressing through the heel of that hand as you shift your hip back towards your heels. Good. Coming back to center and just pause here. Good. From here, we're going to take our knees nice and wide, opening up into a child's pose. So the wider your knees go, the more intense this can be on the low back. So you may want to start with the knees a little bit closer together. They can even be completely together. Or start to take them wide. And we're going to extend those arms all the way forward as far as you can as you bring your forehead down between the arms. And just breathe here for a moment. And I want you to think about bringing your breath right to your low back. So letting the belly be heavy, giving your weight to the mat. And then we're gently going to lift the forehead. You're just going to walk your hands over to the right. And you can keep the hands next to each other. If you'd like a little bit of a deeper stretch, you can take that left hand on top of the right. But here we want to draw that left shoulder and that left rib and that left hip all the way down towards the ground as you really press down and forward into those hands. Let the hips be nice and heavy. And then we gently just switch sides. So walking those hands over to the left, setting it up on this left side, stretching into that right side body now. You can place that right hand on top of the left or just simply place the hands next to each other. But we wanted them all the way off that mat so you can really feel that side body stretch all the way into the shoulder, down into that right hip. And then when you're ready, coming back to center and just pause here. Then from here, we're going to come up to a tabletop position, and you're just going to come up to the back of your mat, up onto the feet, and we're going to come into this nice deep knee bend at the back of our mat. We're going to set up for what's called a ragdoll. So you're going to keep the toes pointed. They're going to be about 2 fist width distance apart, and you really want to get nice and bent through those knees, nice and heavy. We're going to interlace those arms, and we want to avoid keeping our gaze forward. We want to take our gaze all the way down, maybe even almost to the belly button, so you can really find some length through the back here. So allow gravity to really do its job. Tucking the chin towards the chest. And just letting the arms be nice and heavy, relieving that tension and keeping the knees bent to protect the hamstrings. If you feel like straightening the legs and you feel okay there, feel free to go there. But we're going to keep the knees bent if we're just starting. Again, staying nice and heavy through the crown of the head. And then you're gently going to release your hands. But then here, I want you to take your hands to your hips and let that bring you up to a standing position. So here, I just want you to bring your arms down by your sides. Coming vertical, coming standing, bringing those feet right underneath you. And just like we did in the beginning of class, feel the energy through the feet, the big toe mounds, the center of each heel, and the pinky edge. And then we want to draw the ears over the shoulders, drawing the shoulder blades together onto the back slightly. Nothing forced though, just find some energy here, some lift through the chest. Inhale, you're going to just reach your arms up, bring your palms to touch, and then interlace those fingers, pressing your palms to the sky. And then bring those arms out in front of you. You're going to bring your chin down towards your chest, and then here we're going to find that cat round spine like we did in the beginning of class. Really round through the spine, bring your gaze down, tuck your chin, and press your palms away from you. And then we'll do that same thing. We're going to inhale, lift the biceps, lift the gaze, start to draw the heart through. Exhale, pressing the palms away, look down. Keep your legs nice and solid, keeping the core strong. And again, just moving nice and slow. Good, one more time, inhale. And exhale, go ahead and release those arms. And roll out those shoulders, just notice the difference. Good. From here, bringing those arms down by your side. Just bring that left arm up, and you're just going to take a little side body stretch over to the right. Look over your right shoulder. And then we'll just switch sides, taking that left hand to the thigh, bringing that right arm up and over. Good. Let's do that one more time, each side, just stretching over to the right and over to the left. Remember, it doesn't need to look a certain way. Just let it feel good in your body. Go ahead and take those arms down, roll out those shoulders a couple times. Good, and then from here, we're going to bend the knees, and we're going to come back to that tabletop position. So setting it up nice and slow, we're going to take that lunge on the right side once again. So taking that right foot forward, and you can walk those hands forward, and start to create some space. Start to walk that knee back if you can. And really shifting into that right foot. Now I'm going to take that left hand out to the side. I'm going to lean into that left hand. Start to find a stretch here. So reaching up through that right arm. And again, reaching straight up above you, allowing the gaze to go with you. Good. And then just pause here. So bringing those hands back underneath you, start to just pick up your back knee. So now we're in this runner's lunge shape. So pressing through that left heel, using the hands for support, and just notice the difference. Good, then release that back knee, coming back to tabletop, and we switch sides. So taking that left foot forward, once again, setting it up on this side. So make those little adjustments through the back knee and that left foot. Good. Again, you're going to take that right hand out to the side. Start to reach up, finding a twist here, pushing into that right hand and reaching up. And then go ahead and bring that hand back down, bringing the hands back underneath the shoulders. Pick up your back knee. Good. So just exploring this stretch in a different variation. If this is too much, you can always keep that back knee down and just explore it here. We just want to stay nice and heavy through the feet, through the hips. Good, and then when you're ready, release that knee, bringing that left knee back underneath you, and then walking those hands forward just ever so slightly, making sure the hands stay in line with the shoulders. We're going to tuck those toes under and lift our knees. We're going to keep our knees bent like we did when we were standing at the back of our space. We're going to come into this modified down dog. So we want to work on the upper body first before we start to straighten those legs. So it's really about pushing down and forward into those palms and letting the heart kind of reach through. And here, just explore it. If you'd like to straighten the legs, you can. You can pedal out the heels. But just allow yourself to feel this downward facing dog shape for just a moment. And then you'll gently come down back to a tabletop. Good. From here, go ahead and shift those hips to one side. We'll just come to seated with the legs out in front of us. And you're going to use your hands for support and flex the feet. And just take some ankle circles here and switch directions. Once again, just loosening up, getting rid of any tension. Good, and then you're just gently find a forward fold here. So we're not going to force our body into this. I just want you to feel a gentle stretch through the legs. And maybe you already feel a stretch here. That's okay. You can always bend the knees. But we just want to explore it. So staying heavy through the hips, and we want to keep the chest up. We want to avoid this rounding through the spine. But just think about the belly button drawing towards the thighs. And we may not go as far. That's okay. This stuff takes time. So we just want to find a gentle stretch and just let the body start to recognize it. The more we come back to this, the more we do this, the more effortless it becomes. So just feel the difference. And then when you're ready, go ahead and shift your hips forward as you pull your knees in towards your chest, just coming back to where we began. And release those feet. Bring your hands to your belly. And then pull that right knee into your chest. Just pause here. You're going to extend that left leg down to the mat so the leg is straight. And then we'll gently guide that right knee over across the left side. I want you to cactus or goalpost that right arm. Let that shoulder get heavy. And again, your gaze can stay up or start to rotate your gaze all the way over that right shoulder, letting the left shoulder get heavy. Just noticing the difference, keeping that hand on the knee for support. And then when you're ready, coming back to center on your next inhale. And we'll just switch out those legs. So extending the right leg to the mat, pulling that left knee in, and you can always adjust your hips a little bit. And then when you're ready, gently guiding that left knee across the body and cactus or goalpost that right arm or left arm. Keeping your gaze up or maybe taking the gaze all the way over your left side. Just breathe here, staying nice and heavy. And if this is too intense, both knees can be bent here. Remember, listen to your body, sending your breath to those tight spots. Good, and then gently, when you're ready, coming back to center, pulling both knees into your chest, just rocking side to side, giving the low back a little love. And then wrapping your arms around your shins, pull your forehead in towards your knees. Good. From here, coming into a full body stretch, extending those toes, extending the arms overhead like you just woke up in the morning. And then bring your arms down by your sides or rest them on your belly and just find a moment of stillness here. Let everything relax. Just notice the difference. Feel the breath. Feel that tension relief. And then when you're ready, go ahead and point your toes again and reach the arms overhead. And pulling your knees back into your chest, gently rocking yourself to one side and pressing yourself up to a seat. Taking your time. And you can come with the legs crossed or on the knees, or you can simply stay laying down. We're just going to seal in this movement and this practice together. So bring your hands to your heart and just gently bow your chin to your chest. Here, we just honor ourselves for showing up, for taking the time, and for trying something. Maybe trying something new. And from here, we'll bring the thumbs right between the brow. And lifting the gaze ever so slightly, just finding some gratitude here for whatever it is we're grateful for, our bodies, this practice, our health. From there, we bow. To all things, much love. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this session, and we'll see you for the next one. Ciao. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, if you liked this session, give it that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all of my latest videos. I've also just launched YouTube memberships. For one low monthly rate, you're going to get more content, longer classes, live streaming, group chats, and much more. Hit that join button if you'd like to subscribe, and we'll see you on the mat soon. Ciao.